Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real simple but powerful. 6 months. That's all it takes. 6 months of discipline, of tunnel vision, of putting your head down and going to work. That's not a lifetime. That's not forever. That's just half a year. And the truth is, if you give your full effort for 6 months, you can completely change the story of your life. Clarity of vision is the foundation of any real success story. If you don't know where you're going to end up somewhere you never intended to be. It's not just about having goals. It's about understanding why those goals matter to you and how they align with the life you truly want to live. Most people wake up every day and just go through the motions. They go to work, pay the bills, come home, scroll the phone, sleep, and repeat. There's no passion, no direction, no higher calling in motion. And that's because they never stop to define what success actually means to them. See, success is not one size fits all. For some, it's building a business. For others, it's peace of mind. For someone else, it could be financial freedom or just being the best parent they can be. But until you know exactly what it is for you, you're going to be chasing somebody else's dream, not yours. And when you're chasing a goal that doesn't belong to you, you're going to run out of fuel real quick. Clarity gives you a reason to wake up early. It gives you a reason to say no to distractions. It gives you a reason to work when you're tired. When your vision is clear, discipline becomes easier because you're not confused about what matters. Man, that's what separates the people who wish from the people who win. A lot of people say they want success, but they haven't spent one honest hour with themselves getting clear about why. Why do you want this life you say you want? Why are you willing to put in 6 months of hard work? That why has to come from inside of you. Not from pressure, not from social media, not from trying to prove something to someone else. It has to be born from your own truth. And sometimes you've got to shut the world out just to hear yourself think. You got to unplug, reflect, and get still enough to hear that inner voice. Because your vision isn't loud, but it's deep. It's not going to scream over the noise of life. You've got to slow down to find it. And once you do, that vision becomes your compass. It starts guiding your decisions, shaping your habits, even affecting the people you allow into your space. You begin to live with purpose instead of on autopilot. You start to filter every action, every conversation, every opportunity through the lens of that vision. Does this take me closer or pull me further away? That simple question starts to lead your life. You no longer chase everything. You chase only what fits. Clarity trims the fat from your life. It keeps you lean, focused, and aligned. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're locked in on your own mission. You stop wasting time because you know time is currency and you're spending it on something that matters. Clarity doesn't remove all the obstacles, but it gives you the strength and reason to push through them. Discipline over motivation is a mindset shift that separates people who want results from those who actually get them. Motivation feels good. It's that spark, that fire that pushes you to start something new, that makes you feel like today is the day you're going to change your life. But motivation fades. It comes and goes like the weather. You can be motivated in the morning and discouraged by the afternoon. If your success depends on how motivated you feel, you're in trouble because you're handing over your future to your emotions. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask if you're in the mood. It shows up when motivation is nowhere to be found. That's why it's powerful. Discipline is doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. It's waking up when the alarm goes off, even if the bed feels warm. It's going to the gym, even if you're tired. It's choosing the salad over the junk food, reading the book instead of scrolling, finishing the task instead of procrastinating. Discipline isn't loud. It doesn't give you a rush, but it builds the kind of momentum that motivation alone never could. Because the truth is, results don't come from one big burst of effort. They come from small, consistent actions, repeated day after day. That's discipline. That's how habits are formed. That's how routines are established. That's how a new identity is created. And that's how lives change. When you rely on discipline instead of motivation, you take control. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop depending on your mood. You start trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself to follow through, even on the hard days, your confidence grows. You become dependable to you. That's rare. Most people are good at keeping promises to others, but not to themselves. Discipline changes that. It teaches you to honor your word even in silence. It teaches you that you don't need applause or validation. You just need consistency. And here's the thing, discipline actually creates more motivation, because when you start to see results, when you look back and see the progress, you feel more motivated. You start to crave that growth. You start to believe in your own power. But it all begins with that choice to show up when it's hard. Success doesn't ask for your feelings. It asks for your commitment. You don't become who you want to be by doing what's easy. You become that person by showing up again and again, building grit, building resilience, building that inner muscle that pushes through the days when nothing seems to be moving. That's what makes discipline so valuable. It doesn't get shaken by setbacks. It doesn't break under pressure. It holds the line. It keeps you on track. It makes you dependable. And when you become disciplined, you start to realize that you don't need to wait on the perfect energy, the perfect mood, or the perfect situation. You move anyway because you've already decided who you are and what you're committed to becoming. Cutting distractions is one of the most powerful actions you can take if you're serious about success. Distractions don't always come in the form of something obviously negative. Sometimes it's the things that seem harmless that steal the most from your focus. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, people who mean well but bring no growth, or habits that feel comfortable but add no value. In a world that is constantly fighting for your attention, focus becomes a super. If your attention is scattered, your energy will be scattered. And if your energy is scattered, your results will be weak. When you want to make big changes in a short period of time, like a 6-month plan to elevate your life, you don't have the luxury to entertain distractions. You have to become brutally honest about what is helping you move forward and what's holding you back. No matter how small it seems, every time you check your phone when you're supposed to be working, every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your goals, every time you spend an hour talking about nonsense with someone who's stuck in the past, you're making an investment. But the return on that investment is pulling you further away from where you want to go. Success demands sacrifice, and often the first sacrifice is comfort. It's comfortable to keep up with everyone online, to binge shows, to hang out just to kill time, to entertain drama because it's familiar. But none of that builds your future. None of that gets you closer to the life you say you want. You need space to grow, and distractions take up that space. You have to protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Time is your most valuable asset, and it's the one thing you can't get back. The more you eliminate what's unnecessary, the clearer your mind becomes. And a clear mind is a focused mind. A focused mind is a powerful mind. It's easy to say you don't have time to pursue your dreams, to build your business, to improve your health, or to work on your vision. But if you look at how much time you spend each day on distractions, you'd see the time is there as just being wasted. Cutting distractions also means making hard decisions. You might have to distance yourself from people who bring constant negativity. You might have to stop doing things that give you short-term pleasure but still long-term growth. You might have to shut out noise from the outside world just to hear your own thoughts again. Focus isn't just about doing more. It's about doing less of what doesn't matter. It's about channeling your time, energy, and attention into the few things that actually move the needle. That kind of discipline takes courage because it often means going against what everyone else is doing. But if you want different results, you have to live differently. Cutting distractions isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's about making your life so aligned with your goals that anything not contributing to your growth becomes unappealing. Faith and grind go hand in hand when it comes to achieving real lasting success. One without the other leaves your journey incomplete. You can't just believe and expect things to magically happen. And you can't just work like a machine without having a higher sense of purpose guiding you. Faith is the fuel that keeps your spirit alive when nothing seems to be working, when doors are closing, and when people around you don't see what you see. It's the voice inside that tells you to keep going, even when your current reality doesn't match your dream. But faith alone won't build the life you want. You've got to grind too. Grind means showing up early, staying late, doing the uncomfortable, and repeating it daily. Grind means pushing when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, and when you don't even feel like moving forward. That's where most people fall off. They either wait too long for a sign from above without putting in the work, or they burn themselves out, working without anchoring themselves in purpose. Faith keeps you spiritually aligned. It keeps you centered in the belief that what's for you will not miss you. But it also reminds you that God doesn't bless laziness. You've got to meet him halfway. He can open the door, but you've got to walk through it. You've got to stay ready, so you have to get ready. When you combine faith with grind, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because your mindset gets stronger. You start to accept challenges not as obstacles, but as part of the process. You start to trust the journey, even when the results take time. And that's where most people break. They want the reward, but don't want to go through the season of planting, watering, and waiting. Faith is believing in the unseen, and grind is the physical expression of that belief. Every action you take with intention becomes a declaration that you believe something better is coming. When you're grinding with faith, setbacks don't scare you. They might frustrate you, but they don't make you quit. It's because you know deep down that the vision wasn't just your idea, it was placed in you for a reason. You realize your work has meaning beyond money, beyond status. It's about purpose. And purpose gives pain a place. It gives struggle a reason. So when you're tired, when you're down, when you feel like nothing's changing, you don't give up. You shift, you adjust, and you keep grinding. At the same time, you pray, you reflect, you trust. You understand that delays are not denials, and that sometimes God is just preparing you for what you asked for. You don't rush the process. You don't try to skip steps. You stay in alignment, knowing that your grind is creating results in the physical, while your faith is calling blessings from the spiritual. The combination of both creates a powerful force within you that can't be shaken by storms or slowed down by fear. Accountability and environment are two of the most underestimated forces in personal success. You can have the clearest vision, the strongest work ethic, and the deepest faith, but if you're surrounded by the wrong people and lack personal accountability, your progress will be limited. Accountability is about holding yourself responsible for your actions, your decisions, and your results. It's about refusing to blame anyone else for where you are in life. When you commit to something, you follow through. When you mess up, you own it. You don't make excuses. You reflect, you adjust, and you move forward. It's easy to talk about what you're going to do. It's easy to say I'm going to change or I'm going to level up, But real growth comes when you back those words up with consistent, intentional action. And that's where accountability steps in. Not just to motivate you, but to measure you. When you're accountable, you don't let days slip by unnoticed. You track your time, you track your habits, you track your mindset. You ask yourself, did I move closer to my goal today? And if the answer is no, you don't beat yourself up, but you don't ignore it either. You course correct. You get back on track. Now combine that mindset with the power of environment. Your environment is everything. It's the people you spend time with, the conversations you entertain, the energy you absorb, and the atmosphere you allow into your mental and physical space. If you're constantly around negativity, laziness, gossip, or people who settle for less, it's only a matter of time before that energy influences you. You can't soar like an eagle if you're surrounded by pigeons. Who you surround yourself with matters more than you think. If you're around people who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you to a higher standard, you're going to grow. They won't let you stay stuck. They'll push you to stretch, to improve, and to rise. And the beauty of a strong environment is that it multiplies your accountability. It's not just you checking yourself anymore. It's your circle calling you higher. It's your environment feeding your goals instead of starving them. Success doesn't happen in isolation. You need the right people, the right energy, the right influences. That's why it's crucial to audit your circle regularly. Ask yourself, who's helping me grow and who's keeping me stuck? This doesn't mean you cut people off cold, but it does mean you start making decisions about your time and energy that match your goals. You start creating an atmosphere that supports your ambition. You fill your space with things that sharpen your mind, books, routines, conversations, habits, and people who want more out of life. Accountability makes you honest, and environment makes you better. When these two forces work together, they create a structure for success that is solid, consistent, and difficult to shake. You don't just rise on motivation or willpower. You rise because you've built a system around you that lifts you higher every day.